As we said, we'll go through each of the matches. I think there's about 9 matches that have been announced. So we're going to go through those, and then we will jump into the chat, and we will kind of get everyone's thoughts as to how they think this is going to play out. It's actually a really big show. It's really quite exciting because they want to make this seem like a bigger deal. The reports are doing the rounds that WWE is aware that people see this as something that can be missed. People see this as something that can be skipped. People see this as something that's not essential. They want to change that perception. So we've got a great card. I mean, no denying this card looks as good as anything we've had in the past few years. I mean, it's one of the strongest cards I've ever seen. So it's absolutely stacked. Every match has got some interesting about it. And let's get straight to it. Let's have a look and go through the predictions. So first match, this one is probably the weakest one, but I totally get why it's there. We've got Mansoor versus Ali. So this is big match Mansoor taking on Mustafa Ali. And for me with this one, it's Mansoor all day long, isn't it? This is the yearly win that Mansoor gets in Saudi Arabia. Of course, he is from that part of the world. And as a result, they like to have him on this card. Hometown hero. They get him on the card. They have him win battle royals or whatever it might be. Now he's in a little feud with Ali. They were tag partners. That team has now split up. So I do expect to see them two having a match. It'll get a little bit of time, and I expect Mansoor to win. So not really too much to really dwell on when it comes to this, because it's Mansoor. He's there to have that feel-good moment and send the fans home happy. So I expect him to get the victory. Next match, we've got Seth and Edge. So Seth versus Edge. This is quite an interesting one. The reason why I say that is because I believe both guys are actually heading towards the main brand. They're actually going to main brand, the Raw brand, which I suppose in a way I still see as the main brand. The A show. It was always the A show. They're both heading over to Monday nights. So it kind of means that this could continue over there. I don't know if they're going to blow the feud off here or what the plan is, to be honest, or if it's going to continue in any way. So I'm going to say that with that one, they're going to have Edge win and we'll move on to something else. I don't know if they're going to keep that feud going. They very much could do. But to be honest, I think I'd rather it just ended, because I think with the draft coming into effect, I'd like to see them now go on to something different, something new, something fresh. I don't really want that feud to carry over. So I would have Edge win, get the victory, and wrap it up there personally. They might not. They might have Seth win and they might continue it. But I'm going to go with Edge on that one. Next one that we've got is Queen of the Ring. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't find a graphic here that showed the semi-finals. This is just the bracket. So we know that it's Carmella against Zelina on the left-hand side, and it's going to be Shayna versus Doudrop. So I'm going to say that, wow, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter out of Carmella or Zelina who gets through. Shayna is in a very interesting place at the moment because she's kind of a heel, but she's a little bit face as well. She's kind of like the Stone Cold. She's just kind of out for herself. So there is a chance that like Doudrop beats Shayna, because Doudrop could beat Shayna and then go through to face Carmella or Zelina Vega. I think if you were going to have Doudrop get through, you'd want her to go up against someone a bit bigger than Zelina Vega. So I could see a Carmella Doudrop final. I predicted at the start of this tournament that Shayna would win. I'm going to stick with that. But I am actually starting to lean towards Doudrop now. Just because I think that Doudrop's the only out-and-out face that's in this tournament. So obviously we'll get a better idea of who's going to make it to the final. I do think the winner will be someone from either Doudrop or Shayna. I don't think the winner is Carmella or Zelina Vega. I think the winner will be Shayna or Doudrop. I started off with Shayna. I'm starting to change my mind over to Doudrop, but I think it's one of those. The reason that Shayna would make a lot of sense is because she is actually going to Smackdown with Charlotte, so that means they could continue the feud over there. So we could actually get Shayna versus Charlotte on Smackdown. You know, Queen Shayna, the Queen of Spades, taking on Charlotte, the Queen, like Queen versus Queen, which I think is just an easy feud to book. So I would go with Shayna winning. But you can definitely do something with Doudrop, and they seem to be into Doudrop. Like, Doudrop gets bullied a lot. You know, she's bullied about her looks by Eva Marie, so having her now crowned as the Queen, I think would be quite interesting. So Doudrop, there's a good argument for her as well. But I'll stick with my initial reaction, my initial thought, which was Shayna. But I am keeping an eye on Doudrop there. King of the Ring. Let's flip over to King of the Ring. This is a bit better. I do have a graphic that shows where we are with that. So Sami Zayn versus Finn Bálor. Because it's in Saudi Arabia, I think Sami refuses to go. So I think Finn Bálor is going to go to the final. And then Xavier versus Jinder. It's tricky, isn't it? Because I kind of think that everyone wants Xavier to win, and I think there is a chance that he gets through to the final. But then wouldn't that be face versus face? Like, I kind of think they might want people to support Xavier. And if they were going to do that, I think wouldn't they want Xavier going up against a heel? So there's no way that I can see Sami going to the final. So if Sami's not going, and it is Finn, I don't think that's a great opponent for Xavier, because I think there will be people in the crowd that like Finn. It's going to split the crowd, and I keep coming back to the fact this just doesn't feel like the right year for Xavier Woods to win this. He should be King of the Ring. He wants to be King of the Ring, but there will be other King of the Rings. So I don't think this is the year that he should win it. I think that Finn could go through to the final. Jinder could get past Xavier. Jinder, as a result, will have mad heat. If he has cheated Xavier out of getting to the final, then he would have a lot of heat on him. And then surely the crowd will be right behind Finn Bálor. And you've got Finn Bálor versus Jinder in the final then. Xavier getting through to the final, you can definitely do it. And it would get the New Day on the show. But I've got a feeling the New Day will probably be there, maybe with Big E anyway. They'll take Xavier and Kofi to Saudi Arabia. So, but you could have Xavier get past Jinder, but then it will be Xavier against Finn. That might split the crowd a little bit. And honestly, could you see Xavier beating Finn Bálor? Finn Bálor that's just lost as well to Roman as the Demon. Like, it just doesn't sit right with me. Doesn't sit right. Like, there's too much that we're having to just throw to the side to get Xavier King of the Ring. So, to me, I'm Finn Bálor. I'm going to go with Finn Bálor. I personally, if I was booking this, I would have Finn Bálor win. And I would do Xavier winning it, say, next year. And I would have a look at that bracket again and make sure that it was maybe a little bit friendlier as well, because I kind of think that if Xavier does get to the final, you want it to be up against like a big monster heel, and then you've got like this really good final, like people will be firmly behind Xavier then. But I don't know if he gets to the final against Finn that everyone would be behind him, because I think you are going to split the crowd. Because I think there are a lot of Finn Bálor fans. There's a lot of people that loves the Demon, for example. And there's every chance we see the Demon. Because think about the fact that it's Saudi Arabia. They love those kind of gimmicks. And we've just seen the Demon. They would want to see the Demon as well. I think they would want Demon Bálor. So I would expect Finn to get through, to bring the Demon. And we can't have the Demon lose again. Can't have the Demon lose again. So I'm going to say that it's Finn versus Jinder. Finn Bálor wins. And don't worry, Xavier fans. Don't worry, because he will get something. He will get the next King of the Ring, or he will get a mid-card title run. Like, he definitely deserves that. He definitely deserves it, and he definitely will get it. Just doesn't have to be now. Next up, we've got Goldberg versus Lashley. So this is stupid. The reason why I say that is because it's all about the fact that Bobby Lashley beat up someone that was choking him out, and it just turned out to be Goldberg's son that shouldn't have been in the ring anyway, and now Goldberg's upset about it. So, I mean, my response would be deal with it, boomer. So that would be my response, but instead they're having a match. And it's going to be no DQ, which Goldberg was very happy about. Goldberg's had a few losses recently, and I think as a result, this might be one that he actually wins. This is for his son and all of that, Razzmatazz. So I actually think that he could come out on top here. He could get the better of Bobby Lashley in this one because there's no title at stake. There's no, Bobby. It's no DQ. You could do some stuff whereby, you're using weapons, you're catching Bobby off guard, whatever. I mean, I think that Bobby should win it personally, but we've already had Bobby, get past Goldberg before with the title. He beat him at SummerSlam. So he was able to, get past that match with the belt. So I think that with this one, they'll probably give Goldberg some... Because don't forget, before that, Goldberg lost to Drew at the Royal Rumble. I think that was earlier this year, Drew versus Goldberg. So he's lost a couple of matches, Goldberg. I think he's probably at the point where he would appreciate a victory. And with this match that really doesn't mean much, I think they'll go with Goldberg. So I'm going to say Goldberg gets the victory in this one. Next up, Big E versus Drew McIntyre. And this one I think is quite easy to call. This one is Big E. I mean, Big E is the WWE champion. He is on Raw now. Drew McIntyre is going over to Smackdown. There's no reason for him to be taking that WWE championship over there. It doesn't make any sense for him to be taking the title over there unless you're going to build the idea of having two champions on the same show. But then what happens to Raw? I don't think USA Network are going to be too happy at the fact they don't have a world champion on Raw. So I don't see any way that Drew's winning this, to be honest. I think that Big E's going to get that job done. I really am expecting Big E to be victorious in this one, retain his title, and then hopefully go on to some really interesting feuds. I think the top of the Raw division, once we get through the draft, actually looks quite tasty. I think it looks really, really good. So Big E, the jury's out as to whether he's a draw or not. You're going to have to really, really work hard to build him up, and a win here will help. But I think he needs to change his gear as well. I think he's still, I still look at Big E and I still get, New Day vibes, and I really want him to kind of stand out on his own now. When he's back with the New Day, yeah, wear New Day attire, brilliant, bring back the memories, blah, 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 blah. But I think when he's out on his own, just have him, out there in some, his own attire. He's got his own music. He's got, his own, graphics and everything now. So give him his own, attire as well. And, really let's start to try and evolve him and develop him as the world champion that he now is. He still feels like a guy that cashed in to me. Still feels like a guy that, I don't want to say got lucky, but I don't know that I look at him and see the guy that really is the best option to be champion. And that kind of sucks, because I really wanted Big E to be champion. But I just have to be honest, I think that they need to do a bit more to make him feel like a champion. At the moment, it still feels like Big E has cashed in. And I really want him to feel like Big E, the champion. So, a win here will certainly help. Next, we've got RK Bro taking on AJ and Omos. Now, there was rumours that they were looking to split AJ and Omos, but apparently they convinced Vince that was not the best idea in the world. So, as a result, they are actually now keeping them together. That does mean that they could get the titles back here. I don't know that they will. But the question has to be asked, how long are you going to keep RK Bro together? Like, how long is RK Bro going to be a thing? I think a lot of people still enjoy RK Bro, but there's no denying, if you look at our watch-alongs that we do watch-alongs for Raw, Smackdown, NXT, AEW. If the shows are live, we're live, right? And the chat's on screen. If you join us at any point and have a look at the chat, you can see for yourself there's people saying they're tired of RK Bro now. There's people saying they were into it, but it hasn't evolved. Again, same as Big E, it hasn't evolved, it hasn't developed, and it's a little stale at times. Like, listening to Riddle just waffle on about something random is fun at first, but after months, like, it can get a bit tiresome. So I'm kind of at the point where I still like RK Bro. I still like them as a team. I think that they've still got something there, and I'm still, whenever it's their segment, I'm like, right, here we go. It feels like a big segment. But I also agree it's time to do something more, something different. Is that split the team up? I don't know. This is a tricky one. It's a real tricky one, this, to call, because I have to stick with RK Bro retaining. The reason why I'm doing that is because if they were planning to split AJ and Omos, that says to me they don't have any plans for them to be tag team champions. If the plan was for them to be tag team champions, why were they splitting them up? So I'm going to say that RK Bro retain, but don't be too surprised if they do lose that title sometime soon, because it feels to me like they need to do a little bit more. It might not feel that way to WWE yet, though. So we'll have to wait and see, but I do feel like there's a split coming. Yeah, I do feel like there's a split coming at some point. Right, next one. We've only got 2 matches left to go, which is cool. As we said, there's quite a few matches. All of these matches, I'm sure you agree, they feel big. Like, the first one was Mansoor Ali. Our second one was like Edge versus Seth. I mean, that's big. And then you got Queen of the Ring final. Amazing. King of the Ring final. Amazing. Goldberg versus Lashley. Big names. Big E versus Drew. WWE Championship match. Now we've just spoke about RK Bro. Next up, we've got Becky, Bianca, and Sasha. I mean, you want to talk big. How about you put in 3 of the biggest female stars WWE have ever had, certainly in regards to Sasha and Becky. Obviously, Bianca's not been around that long, but she did win the main event of WrestleMania 37 for night 1. She did beat Sasha Banks in what was probably the best moment from that weekend. Like, the emotion of her crying, and I think she's just burst onto the scene. She really feels, Bianca now, like she's the 5th horsewoman. She feels like she is absolutely the equal to these. She does not look out of place. I do not look at this and think, oh, she doesn't belong. I don't look at that graphic and think, oh, they're pushing her too quick. Like, she absolutely feels like she belongs to be at this level. I love Bianca Belair. I think she's doing a fantastic job. So good with her promos, so confident, real show of strength in her matches. We saw her going for that kind of double KOD, which looked awesome. I think she will hit that here. It was teased. She didn't quite get it the other day, but I think she gets it here. And Becky obviously is doing some interesting stuff at the moment, what with coming back as a heel. I don't know that that's the best way to use her, but I think it just shows how much they really want to invest in Bianca. They've looked at Becky and said, we need you to help us get Bianca even more over. Like, at the moment, the 26-second loss, all of that, it was all designed to get sympathy on Bianca and build Bianca up. So Becky, they've turned Becky heel for Bianca, which is pretty wild. And then Sasha's just Sasha, isn't she? Moody in the background. But she could end up winning this because this is for the Smackdown Women's Championship. And Bianca and Becky are going to both be on Raw. So Bianca and Becky, after the draft, go to Raw. Sasha goes to SmackDown. And Sasha, who was in The Mandalorian and is one of the biggest stars in WWE, is not a bad person to put the title on. A lot of people are looking at Becky because it's Becky. A lot of people are looking at Bianca because, you know, she needs to win her title back. But I'm actually going with Sasha Banks. I'm going with Sasha Banks because I think that she is going to SmackDown after the draft. She's the only one of the three that is. It's a great way, easy way of getting that title over onto SmackDown. I know there's a lot of people out there saying, well, Bianca could win, Becky could win, and then they just swap the titles. I don't want that. I really don't want that. I don't want to think that WWE are going to entertain that as an idea, because I just think that it doesn't devalue the title, but it's just not the done thing. It's not what you do. Like, the lineage of the title, when you go back into the history of the title, and it's like, well, that person beat that person beat that person. The idea that they just swapped belts is just so alien. It's not a thing that happens in sports, and I would like to avoid that if possible. So I would have Sasha win this, and I'm going to hope that they have Sasha win this. And then we do need to find a way of getting the title off of Charlotte, but we've got a little bit of time to do that. And even if, like, it's on, like, the debut episode or, like, the final episode or whatever it might be, we've got time to get that title off Charlotte as well. So I'm going to say to go with Sasha on this one. Maybe throw a bit of a curveball, something that, you know, people don't see coming. Plus, also, you do need some title changes. Because, as we've said, I've got Big E retaining. I've got RK Bro retaining. So we do need a title change. So if you're going to change it off Becky, you'd have to go with either Bianca or Sasha. And I've gone with Sasha. That brings us to our main event of the evening. And this is a good one. This is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and this is for the Universal Championship. So, curveball here, Paul Heyman. Is Paul Heyman working with Brock Lesnar? I've got to tell you, I thought, and maybe still think, this is Roman's toughest challenge. Brock Lesnar, obviously, you know, these two have faced each other before. Brock has beaten Roman. Roman has beaten Brock. These two are not strangers. But obviously this is a very weird dynamic because this time Roman is the heel and Brock is the face. I think Roman retains. Let's put it out there. I think Roman retains. I think Roman is going to keep a hold of this title. I don't know how. I don't know if Paul Heyman is going to cheat Brock. I would imagine there's going to be a very creative finish. I'm not expecting this to be a clean match and Roman wins. I'm not expecting that at all. I am expecting Paul Heyman to play a big, big part in this somehow. I don't know how, but I'm expecting him to play a big part in this somehow. It could be that Brock is under the impression that Heyman is working with him, and then Heyman turns on Brock during the match to reveal that he was never really working with Brock, and that is enough for Roman to get the win. Reports are that Brock is away for a little while after Crown Jewel. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that Brock isn't going to be winning the title, but 'cause I don't know quite how long he's away for, but I've definitely seen that he's away for a while. So I'm not expecting him to win the title and then defend it at the next pay-per-view and all this kind of stuff. So I think everything seems to be pointing towards Roman. Everything seems to be pointing towards Roman. And I think Brock is, you know, going to go away for a little bit. He'll then come back. He's a free agent. He could come back after Roman, but he could equally go over to Raw as well. He can go anywhere. It's kind of good that he's a free agent because it means that he's not... If he was only on SmackDown, he'd kind of be stuck with Roman, because you ain't going to have Brock go after the mid-card title, are you? You ain't going to have Brock in a tag team. So unless he's going to go into just a feud like Edge has with Seth, he's going to have to go after the title. So him being a free agent is definitely the right thing. Plus also it obviously boosts ratings for both shows. So yeah, I'm going to go with Roman retaining. And I think that it's going to be... But none of this is, like, set in stone. There's quite a few there that are like, oh, could go either way. I mean, Goldberg, Lashley, could go either way. King of the Ring, Xavier could win it. Queen of the Ring, Carmella could win it. Like, I think Zelina Vega is probably the least likely of the four that's through in that one. But there's every chance that they give it to Carmella. As I said, I could make an argument for Doudrop, and I think Shayna. So that could go either way. Edge and Seth, they could continue that feud. I think Edge and just end the feud now. But they could easily go with Seth and carry that on a little bit longer. RK Bro versus AJ and Omos, they might want to do the split. So they might be looking at RK Bro thinking they've run their course. So, okay, we weren't going to keep AJ and Omos together, but let's put the title on them. Let's put the title on them and we'll split RK Bro. This is our opportunity to do that. I don't see much of an argument for Drew winning. I don't think Drew wins. I could see arguments for Becky and Bianca winning. Any in that triple threat, I think you can make an argument for. But I'm sticking with Sasha for the reasons that I said. And then honestly, I think Brock, the closer we're getting, the less likely I think it's looking that Brock wins. Certainly if he's going to be taking that time off as well and isn't sticking around. So I'm going to say Roman with that one. So yeah, those are my predictions. Those are my thoughts and the reasons why. But I would love to know what you lot are thinking. What are you looking forward to? What poll should we put up in the chat as well? I kind of feel... I don't know whether we should go with the Roman poll or whether we should go with Becky, Bianca, and Sasha. I think I'll go with... let's go Becky, Bianca, Sasha. Who do you think leaves as champion? I'll go with Becky, Bianca, and Sasha because it's 3 options and I think it's quite interesting. Do you think Becky? Do you think Bianca? Or do you think Sasha Banks? So, who do you think leaves as champion? Becky, Bianca, or Sasha? So, we've got that poll in the chat. Liv and Zelina Stan said, do the Becky, Bianca, and Sasha one. Done. Your wish is my command. Will Days fix predictions? He's misspelt it. Wow. Will he fix it? Predictions. Tall Paul said, I agree, but Becky will win. Tall Paul, shout out to you. Hope you are well. I could debate that point. Debate away. Shola said, I just realised if Dynamite is on Saturday, then surely Rampage is live on Friday. I believe it is, yes. I believe it is for the Friday Night War. Harley said, I think Seth Edge, Hell in a Cell will steal the show. It's a really good point. Didn't mention that it was inside Hell in a Cell. That match, I think, will be very, very violent. I think it's going to be very... I should imagine there'll be blood. I don't know if you can get away with blood in Saudi Arabia. I'm trying to think if they have had bleeding before on purpose. I think there would be. I mean, Hell in a Cell kind of calls for it, really. If you're not going to have blood, like, don't really do Hell in a Cell. I kind of think like it definitely calls for it. So, but I must admit that actually kind of strengthens my thought that Edge wins. I don't see Seth winning a Hell in a Cell. So, hypothetically, if Sasha takes the title, could Doudrop win Queen's Crown and then take the title from Charlotte to bring it to Raw? Yeah. I don't know if they would pull the trigger on her being the champion. I mean, I think winning Queen's Crown... Do you just want to put the belt on yourself? I kind of think that they could go that way. They could go that way. I would imagine, though, they would likely put it on someone like Becky, and they might do Becky Charlotte or something just before. I mean, they could, honestly, they could just swap the belts. It could be one of them where they do just swap the belts. But as I said, if there's a way of kind of going around that, because they've already done that with the tag titles in the past, and I thought it was a bit cringe. So if there's a way of kind of avoiding that, then I think we should. Even if the story could be that Charlotte has still got the title. You know, you could do it whereby Charlotte has got the Raw title for a little bit on SmackDown and bring some Raw people over to SmackDown to try and win it off her. I mean, you could tell that story. I wouldn't be against that story at all. So, do we have to have the title switch over to Raw? There's time to do it. But does it have to be done by the time the draft starts? Ideally, yes, but it doesn't necessarily have to. They could tell that story. Days, I agree on the King of the Ring, but do you think people in Saudi would be behind Xavier? I doubt they're really familiar with him as they don't watch regular like us, says Hasib. I actually don't know how much they watch. I think since WWE have been going over, I think they have got regular... I think they do watch the show on a regular basis now. I mean, like, there must have been an interest in bringing it over in the first place. Like, they must have had access to it. And they seem to know the superstars when they come down to the ring. So, I mean, it's hard to know. Do they get the show weekly? Is it like a highlights package? Like, I don't actually know what they get to see. But they certainly, the people in the crowd, seem to know who all the superstars are and pop and react and get excited when they all come down. So I think they are aware. I think they would certainly know the New Day. The New Day have been there before anyway. Like, the New Day have been to Saudi Arabia quite a few times. So I think, and also don't forget, like, Xavier's got his up, down, down channel. So he gets a lot of exposure from YouTube and that way as well. So I think they would know who he is. I think the crowd would be behind him, but I think they would be behind Finn Bálor as well. I do think that with the final, you are splitting the crowd, which isn't a problem. It's not a problem to do that. You know, you just root for whoever you want to win. I mean, that's fine. It's not a big problem. I just think, like, it would be better for Xavier if he was in the final against, you know, a big heel. That, you know, like, if he was in the final against, say, Karrion Kross, and Karrion Kross had been talking trash about Xavier, and it was Karrion Kross versus Xavier for, like, King of the Ring, like, that would be interesting. That would be really interesting. To do it against Finn Bálor, though, who's just lost against Roman, like, I kind of think they need to give Finn something back. That's my only thought there. But it's difficult because I know everyone wants Xavier. I know how popular Xavier is and how much Xavier wants it. And because Xavier wants it, we all want him to get it as well. So I do understand that there is a real support amongst the fan base. But as I said, there's loads of time. Doesn't have to be this year. You can do it another year. Ashton said, I can see Drew getting angry after he loses to Big E in the main event. Drew McIntyre might cost Brock. Interesting. Days, I'm thinking of watching a WWE pay-per-view tonight. Have you got any ideas which one? Depends. I mean, I don't know what you've seen, my friend. I would recommend one that you probably haven't seen if there's a lot you've not seen. Obviously, the ones that come to mind first of all would be like the Money in the Bank, where it's like Cena and CM Punk. That's always a good one. Is that like 2012, I think? And then you've got like WrestleMania 17, which is always regarded as one of the best, or WrestleMania 30, that's right up there. Royal Rumbles are always fun. You always get some good surprises in the Rumble, but I mean, it all depends what you've seen, what you haven't seen. But yeah, there's loads great shows. SummerSlam 03, I think it is, 02. SummerSlam 02. I'm trying to think which one was like Shawn versus Triple H and Brock versus Rock. That's a very good pay-per-view as well. So if you've never seen that, I recommend that one. Gozo said, would you like to see a Paige return with a new absolution of Sonya and Toni Storm? The Paige return is very interesting because when it comes to social media teases, I always take them with a pinch of salt. I really don't believe them until I see them, because there's so many times that we get things teased and then it never pays off. Or not never, but rarely does it pay off. I mean, how many times have we... Who was teasing that they were the Joker? Was it Will Ospreay was teasing social media he was the Joker? And obviously that turned out to be Hangman Page. And I think we were... All the time, we got like... How many times did Becky send out tweets of Gorilla and send out like messages that she was like at the Rumble and all this kind of stuff, and then never appeared? Like, it happens all the time. It's just a way of generating buzz. So I don't know that she's gonna actually make an in-ring return. She might make a return to wrestling. She could be a GM. I mean, if Sonya's about to go back into the ring, does that leave a GM spot that Paige could fill and did a great job when she was GM? I mean, in all fairness, they should bring her back in that role because she was brilliant. So I don't really want her to return if she's not cleared. If WWE don't think she's ready, then or can, then I don't think I'd want to see her back. Another company might be, take the chance, but she's young, man. She's got a whole life ahead of her, and I know that her life is wrestling, and it sucks, and, she would love to get back into the ring, but I hope she's not rushing anything. So it's too early to say, do I want to see her in a group and all this? I don't even know if I want to see her in a wrestling ring, but I do like Paige, and I'm only saying that I wouldn't be comfortable at the moment because I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her to get seriously hurt. And sometimes, because her family is wrestling and her life is wrestling, sometimes you can just make stupid decisions, Like, if you are like, this is my life, this is what I'm meant to be doing, I can't be out the ring anymore. If you're very one-track minded like that, you could make a silly mistake. But look at Daniel. Daniel managed to, get himself healed up and get back, and that was a success. So if it's going to be like Daniel, if it's going to be like Edge, then brilliant. Let's do it. Yeah. But I just hope that she's cleared and healthy, and it's all good. Sources are reporting that Roman isn't going to lose in 2021. What are your thoughts? I don't know where this source is. I haven't seen this. Isn't going to lose. I've not seen that news. I've seen that he's not around. That's what I've seen, and might not even be back till Royal Rumble. So there was a few people saying, well, that means that he might win the title, just not defend it. But he's surely got to have a match at Survivor Series. So if he really is not around until Royal Rumble, that's too long. It's too long, and I think that means that he's not winning the title here. Elizabeth said Jinder looks amazing with the crown on. Maybe he could win because he is just a jobber now, and he does deserve something more. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the only problem with that would be for me that Finn is getting to the final. I'm sure of that because Sami won't go, and that would mean that Finn takes another loss. Like when Finn went back to NXT, he went back to NXT to kind of find himself. To rebuild himself in a way, and it kind of feels like all of that has been thrown away. He spent like 2 years not using the demon, and he wanted to get himself over. The demon's over. The demon will always be over, but Finn Bálor, the man, is what he was trying to get over, and he succeeded. He did a great job down in NXT. He did a really, really good job, and I know they lost the rating wars to AEW and whatnot, and he wasn't really bringing in the ratings and whatnot, but he is a big star. He is super marketable. And obviously the demon is a part of that. But it just feels like, I know it's only one loss to Roman, but it's a big loss. That loss to Roman does remind me a lot of The Fiend losing at Hell in a Cell. Balor's not buried and Demon's not buried because losses happen, but it feels like a really significant loss. It feels like it's not just a loss, let's move on to the next thing. It feels to me like a big talking point in the history of Finn Bálor. It's a loss that really defines him. And I'm quite interested to see how he bounces back from that. And I don't know, losing in the final of a King of the Ring to Jinder, it's not how I would book the bouncing back of Finn Bálor. To be honest, I don't know how I would book the bouncing back of Finn Bálor, but that would be maybe for a separate video to kind of sit down and map out how you do the next 12 months with Finn Bálor. I still think that he should be the person, or should have been the person, to beat Roman, but that won't be the case now because he's moved over to Raw. So that's not happening. So as I said, it's hard to know how does he bounce back because he is a face and the Demon's really marketable. But Big E is currently the champion, so that I don't see Finn getting the title off Big E. I don't see them doing that. I think they'll feed heels to Big E. They are giving him Drew to build up his credibility. Drew, former champion, and going over to SmackDown, isn't he? So you can give him Drew, but I don't know that we're gonna see Big E versus Finn Balor. But I'd be down for it. I've lost love for Paige because she banned me on Twitch, says Hasib. Amazing. Wouldn't want to see Paige do any more damage to her neck. Absolutely. Hazard Talks Footy said, I agree with you saying that Roman wins, but this is Paul Heyman. He always has been with Brock Lesnar's advocate, and I feel like Vince would want them back. I could see Paul turning on Roman. Yeah, the only problem with that is that, again, if Brock isn't around for a while, that means that Heyman's not around for a while, and would you want to just keep him on the show with Roman? Like, unless Paul Heyman has said, I don't want to do this kind of a schedule anymore. I don't want to be out there week after week after week. Like, let's do something different. Yeah, let me take a break. Let me become Brock's advocate again now that he's back. Then I could see that being the case. But I don't know. Paul Heyman might be enjoying working with Roman, and he might be enjoying this kind of slightly different role because, before he was the advocate and he was big and he was like very arrogant because he's got Brock by his side and he had nothing to worry about. His relationship with Roman is very different. Like, he always looks intimidated, he always looks scared, and it might be that Paul Heyman's quite enjoying playing a different sort of character. It's still him, but it's a different side of him. This is a more vulnerable Paul Heyman that we see with Roman Reigns. So, I don't know. It's a tricky one. It depends how he's feeling about his schedule. Depends if he wants to work a lot. If he does, then you'd have to think he'll stick with Roman. If he just wants to go back to that kind of part-time schedule, then maybe he'll go back to being Brock's advocate. So, we'll find out. I think he stays with Roman. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the Roman story is not broke. Reports coming out that he has sold more merch, that record sales for a heel. He's their top merch seller right now. And I don't know. I think no other heel has sold as much as him or something. It's amazing numbers that he's generating. Every metric is saying he is smashing this out of the park. But, I mean, it's so crazy because this is what the fans have been asking for how long? He got booed out of the building at, the 2015 Royal Rumble. Even The Rock came down and held up Roman's arm to celebrate, and they booed The Rock. The Rock's face as he was, looking around at everyone booing them. He couldn't believe it. But Vince stuck to, his guns, which, as he does. He kept Roman a face. And, as a result, in many ways, it was even sweeter when he finally turned him heel. Us waiting as long as what we did probably made that moment and makes this run even more legendary. Because had he have done this back in, 2015, would it have been as big as it is now? I think the fact that it felt like he was never going to do it. I think the fact that it felt to me like Vince was doing with Roman what he did with John Cena. He was just very single-minded. He was very much going to keep him on the same path. He was very much just going to have him as the face of the company. That was it. And be damned. Boo him if you want. I don't care. This is my guy. And it just felt like he was going to do exactly the same as Cena. And it felt like all hope was lost. And we didn't want him to be the face. And so the fact that he actually did it has made this run legendary. This is a legendary run. This is one of those title runs that goes down in history. We talk about CM Punk's title run because of how long he had it for, and how historic it was with the way he got the belt and all of that. I think this one is right up there with it. I think this Roman Reigns title run, maybe not so much the ones before, but this one, him as a heel, this matters. This is legendary. This is one that we'll talk about in the future. And whoever ends it, it's going to be a part of that story. So They've got to make sure they pick the right person. I think it's very, very important. Solo Sikoa is the Usos brother, says 685 Blood. Shout out to you. John says, do you think they're going to unify the men's and women's? They teased it on Raw. I don't think so. I think Charlotte teased it, but I don't think they will do that because I think USA Network will probably want a belt for the men and a belt for the women to be, both USA and Fox would like to, promote they've got the world champion. So this is why I think they've got those 2 titles, 3 if you include the tags. They've got the Raw and the Smackdown tag titles, Raw, Smackdown, women's, and they don't go Raw, Smackdown, do they? For the men, it's WWE and Universal, but I can't see them combining them because I think that how would the Smackdown stars be competing for, like who would be at the top of the card? Do you know what I mean? Like how would that work? I don't see it working unless you go back to having just one brand, which I don't think they're going to do that either, considering we've just had a draft. So we've just done a draft to split the brands up. I don't see it coming back together and us just having one world champion. The only other way you could do it would be to have that champion be someone like Brock that's a free agent and can go to both shows. But that person you would think would work a lot. And then also there wouldn't be a champion there for the brands to kind of challenge or interact with. And I don't see it. I think if you were going to go to one brand, then I could see it. But I don't see it. Not at the moment. Vishnu, shout out to you, said, I think that Brock gets screwed out the title at Crown Jewel somehow and returns at the Rumble. He wins the Rumble and faces Roman in the rumoured rematch for WrestleMania 38. That is true. That is the rumoured rematch for WrestleMania 38. Those two. I'm surprised actually that it's not Drew versus Roman, but I would imagine that once we get past this, Roman and Drew will probably be what the next feud is. So obviously Drew goes over to SmackDown, and if you saw our draft review that we did on the channel, there's not many options out there at all for Roman at the top of the card. There's not many options at all. So it means that he is absolutely on a collision course with Drew McIntyre. And got to think that's coming after this show. So I think Roman retains, and I think we might find his next feud being with Drew. I see it reversed, says Austin. Brock wins at Crown Jewel, and then Roman wins the Rumble to challenge Brock at WrestleMania, says Austin. 685 Blood said, how does this sound? Reigns versus Kofi. Reigns versus Kofi you can do. Yep, I could see that being a match. We looked at that draft, and there's not much at the top of the card, or not what you would think is top of the card kind of talent. You've got your likes of like a Cesaro, you've got a Jeff Hardy, you've got a Kofi in the tag division with Xavier. So you've got those kinds of people, but there's no one that like jumps out other than Drew McIntyre as being a certified, bona fide, experienced main eventer. Yes, Kofi is that, but he's also in a tag team, and I think they'd use him more for the New Day. But yeah, I think there's every chance that you do see a Kofi-Roman feud. I could definitely see that. And, we've also got New Day and Usos. Kind of feels like the New Day need to get a third member again. Because if we are going to do Kofi against Roman, Xavier can't deal with the two Usos on his own. But Big E can't come over to help. So it'd be quite interesting to see if they would bring someone else into the New Day. That if you were going to do a Kofi-Roman feud, I would definitely be thinking about I need a third person in the New Day. If I'm Vince, I'm definitely thinking I need a third person in the New Day. Roman Reigns wins at Survivor Series. Roman versus Big E, said C-Scoop. Harley said, Days, I know there's rumours that Rock wrestles at Mania 39. But imagine that The Rock comes out after the main event and Roman sees him, says he'll be at Survivor Series. Then at Survivor Series, Roman and Rock face off and announce a match at WrestleMania 38. There's a lot there. I mean, yes, that'd be. I think The Rock is at Survivor Series. Hasn't been announced. Haven't seen any reports. But we know that it is the 25th anniversary of The Rock. I suppose they could always just have him send in a video message, but sucks, doesn't it, really? Like, they could have sorted this a long time ago and got The Rock in. He's got a very busy schedule, though, so whether he could find the time, I really don't know. But he always tries to find the time. If it's, important, and, he's got a good relationship with the wrestling fans, and it's where he started, and he never forgets his roots. He's been at WrestleMania, year after year after year. Maybe not so much in recent years because of the pandemic, but, before that, we were seeing him quite a bit. WrestleMania 28, WrestleMania 29, he helped kick off WrestleMania 30. At WrestleMania 31, he did the little thing with Ronda Rousey. So it's not that many years ago, 5 years ago or so. So I kind of think it's definitely been a little while, and it's definitely time for him to do a little something. We haven't seen him during the pandemic, of course, or after the pandemic. So Survivor Series, his 25-year anniversary of his debut, makes perfect sense. And we haven't heard his view on the whole bloodline family thing. So, we've got to get his perspective on that. So, I think it'll be there. Whether it leads to 38, I mean, Harley will know as well as anyone that the rumors are that it's going to be Brock Roman. So, I don't think they'll go in that way. But they could go that way. If Rock is going to be free, then you would do the match. If ever Rock has got a gap in his schedule, you do the match. I don't even think Vince would think twice about it. It's a no-brainer. The biggest WrestleMania ever is WrestleMania 28. That broke records because it was Rock Cena once in a lifetime. The second one didn't reach the same height because everyone had seen it the year before. So, but once in a lifetime, WrestleMania 38, that is the record-breaking WrestleMania. And it'll probably never get beaten because, of course, now we've got the network, so people aren't buying pay-per-views anymore. I don't know what numbers it would generate, but it'd still be a no-brainer. I mean, the amount of money that Roman is generating in merch sales, the star that The Rock is, you have to do that match. You have to do that match. So I would expect it. If we get it at 38, amazing. If it's 39, amazing. If it's 40, I don't care. As long as we do get to see that match. And whilst Roman's a heel, of course. Going Go said, I think WWE have to be careful with Finn. If he is unhappy and goes to AEW and reforms the Bullet Club, WWE will be in a lot of trouble. What are your thoughts? Maybe. I think that Finn Balor is a big star, but we've seen down in NXT that he didn't bring in ratings. It's not like Finn Balor is going to go to AEW and then they're going to increase by 200,000 or anything. Finn Balor went to NXT and they were drawing 500,000. Finn Balor being in NXT wasn't enough to, do much to their numbers. If he goes to AEW and they use him to do Bullet Club and all this kind of stuff, I kind of feel that's going to be, it'll help them and it would be a great addition and I'm sure it would boost their ratings, but I wouldn't go as far as to say WWE would be in big trouble. I don't think he is quite that caliber of star. It's harsh. It's harsh. I know it's harsh, but he's been in NXT for 2 years, and I have to just look at the numbers. The numbers in NXT did not reflect that he is a massive. He is not Roman. He is not Cena. He is not one of these. He's not The Rock. He's not Stone Cold. He's not one of these. He's not Randy Orton. He's not that level. He's only had a world championship for 24 hours. He's got a great look. Demon's amazing, super marketable, but he's not someone that I think is going to really put WWE in a lot of trouble. I mean, what's happening over at AEW? I don't know that, outside of those big names that I mentioned, I don't know that there is anyone that would put WWE in trouble. That person was CM Punk. You know, AEW have already pushed the nuclear button, and that was sign CM Punk. The button marked sign CM Punk. They've pushed it, right? That was the nuclear option. That was what was going to put WWE in trouble. And now we're seeing that Rampage is getting 500,000 with a CM Punk match on the show. And I kind of think like we're starting to see it settle down now. Now, by no means am I saying that's it. AEW are done at all, right? At all. I think that they're still in a great place, and they can, you know, start to use CM Punk now for some of the juicier matches, because some of the matches we've seen so far have not been like dream matches, and there are tons for CM Punk, so he will get the numbers. It's not a problem, but I'm just saying that I don't know that Finn Balor would put them in big trouble. I suppose what they do need to do is really get something that can catch people's imagination. So rather than sign Finn Balor and that's going to do it, you could be right when you say he reforms the Bullet Club, or he does reform some sort of group and maybe they catch fire, and maybe that is what really starts to get AEW going. Like, the thing with the Attitude Era is that WCW was just bobbing along. Even when they signed Hogan, sort of bobbing along, like 94, 95, bobbing along, right? They had Hogan, they legitimized themselves, they were absolutely competition for WWE, but it wasn't until Hogan turned heel, it wasn't until the NWO was formed, it wasn't until Hogan became the third man that things, but Hogan had already been in WCW for a good few years by that point. What actually kick-started things for WCW was that story of the NWO. The NWO kind of is what really moved things. It wasn't necessarily a person coming in. It was a story that caught fire. Everyone knew Hogan, and everyone knew Hulkamania, and all of a sudden he's now a heel. And there's a group that's like trying to take over WCW, and you've got to remember they were simpler times, right? There were simpler times, and a lot of kids and everyone like kind of believed what they were watching. There was no internet, there was no spoilers, there was no one really telling you it's going to go this way, this is what's happening, this is the plan. Meltzer was doing it, but you had to be subscribed to the newsletter, and only X amount of people were. Do you know what I mean? Like if you average Joe Blogs was tuning in, like, what are we going to get this week? Not knowing where things were going or who was going to be signing. Like, it was exciting. It was thrilling. You didn't know if they were genuinely taking over from, like, the story at the start was that they were coming in from WWF and they were there to disrupt the show. They were, I think, the outsiders at first, weren't they? And then they recruited a third member. This was Hall and Nash. They recruited a third member in Hogan, and they became the NWO, the New World Order, and they started to take over WCW. And all of that was really engaging, really interesting, great storytelling. That's what did it for WCW, was all of that, and that's when things started moving. And as a result of all of that, they obviously then went on their 80-odd week run of beating WWE. So that's kind of where AEW are. They've got names. They need that storyline that's going to really capture people's imagination. And I've got to say, that's hard to do in the internet age. I don't know what that is in the internet age. And I don't think that they quite know either, because it's spoilers are out there. Spoilers are out there for things. You kind of know where things are heading. It unfortunately takes a lot of the mystery away from wrestling. And so as a result, it's just like the internet just pours cold water all over wrestling. Spoilers and the internet and things like that really they have taken away from wrestling. We were having this conversation the other day. I think I'm so fortunate to have grown up watching wrestling in the 90s, because like trying to watch wrestling now, it's a completely different animal. It's a completely different animal. Like now, if you don't like something, you blame the booking. I mean, you never used to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the heat when I was a kid went on the wrestlers. If the wrestlers did something screwy, you hated the wrestler. Yeah, like, you didn't hate the booking. You never even thought about the booking. You thought, the hate went to the wrestler. Look at Sergeant Slaughter in, go back to 91, WrestleMania 7. He was getting death threats. Death threats to his house because he was the Iraqi sympathizer. People were sending his family death threats, and they had to get his family out of their home, put them in a hotel, and all of this, like, because he was an Iraqi sympathizer during the Gulf War. The heat went up. The heat didn't go on Vince. The heat didn't go on WWE. People weren't looking at that. Average Joe wasn't looking at that, going, why have they booked that? That is appalling. WWE should be ashamed. That wasn't the case. It all went onto Sergeant Slaughter and onto his family. That heat. Same with the Iron Sheik. Think about the Iron Sheik back in the day and how hated the Iron Sheik was. So it's a completely different time now. So it's a whole separate conversation as well. What the AEW need to do to beat WWE? First of all, they need to get onto a bigger network. That will give us a gauge as to where they are. If they went head-to-head with Raw on a bigger network, we would... Even just now, we would get a good idea. Where are they? I have no idea. Right now, where are they? How big is CM Punk? How much of a draw is CM Punk? How much of a draw is Jericho? Like, I would imagine a big draw, to be honest. I'd imagine the names alone, the name power alone would definitely bring in more eyes if they went to a bigger network. They could be at a Raw level right now. But if they want to be beating, say, Smackdown, if they want to be, like, consistent and be right up there, they're still going to need, like, killer storylines that are going to connect with people. And as you said, maybe at that point when you bring in Bálor and you do, like, a Bullet Club thing, maybe that would be it. But without them being on a bigger network, it's hard to know where they are in comparison, because to compare USA and Fox to, like, TNT isn't really fair. Edward said, Becky has said that her versus Ronda one-on-one will happen. What are your thoughts? I hope so. It's the match that I always wanted, and I still don't think that that was meant to go down the way that it was. I don't believe that they put Charlotte in the main event of WrestleMania 35 as the third woman just to lay on the outside and for Ronda to be rolled up and it all look a bit scrappy and messy and awkward. I think that Charlotte was there to take the pin. Either take the pin or get disarmored. And so as a result, Becky wins the titles that way. Ronda doesn't get beaten. Charlotte loses in the main event. And Becky becomes champion. Tick, tick, tick. Like, everything is set up perfect for things to go that way. Instead, there's a weird, like, backslide. There's a count, and I don't think Ronda could get her shoulders up, and it was a bit flat. I mean, if you watch the ending to WrestleMania 35, it feels a bit weird. I haven't seen anything that says that it was botched, but I think it was botched. And I think that Charlotte was meant to take the pin, so I think Ronda's fuming. We haven't seen Ronda since. Yeah, nearly, like, next year's WrestleMania will be 3 years since Ronda was in WWE. I know she went away to start a family, but she's actually only just done that. So I don't know when she'll be back. I hope she is. I hope we get that one-on-one. That's the match that I would really love to see in the women's division. 685 Blood said Rey Mysterio versus Big E, and the title and Rey's career is on the line. What is your thoughts? Rey versus Big E, title versus career. I don't know. My first thoughts are that's not how I would want Rey to retire at the hands of Big E, but it's not the worst either. It's not the worst. I don't know. It's not really grabbing me. It's fine. I can't really find anything wrong. I mean, if your final match is a title match, that's not bad. Big E is a kind of younger star in a way. He's only just got to the main event scene, so beating Rey Mysterio in a retirement match, that's cool. I think my problem is that I don't think that would be a great match. Like Rey's last match, I think I'd like to be against someone like AJ Styles. Do you know what I mean? Or like maybe a Seth Rollins. Someone that's maybe a bit more known as being like a real in-ring technician. Big E, I think, definitely has his moments, but I don't know that I would want that to be Rey's last match. Of course, Rey could always win the title. Could always win the title, and that could be the end of Big E's title run. So it, necessarily wouldn't have to be the end of Rey's career, but I don't know. I'd probably give it a bit more thought. That's something about it's not grabbing me, and I can't quite figure out what it is. I think, as I said, it's because that's not maybe how I would choose to end Rey's career. And of the two options, I think it's more likely Big E would win. John, shout out to you, said, do you see Nakamura or Owens joining AEW? Well, Owens definitely is looking glum at the moment, isn't he? He looked very annoyed in that segment the other week when he had to just give a stunner to Akira Tozawa. He went out there, didn't say a word. Akira Tozawa came down, interrupted, started saying like, yeah, I don't care about you, I'm here for the 24/7 title. He got stunned and Kevin Owens walked away and he just looked so dejected. And then there's a picture of him at a house show where he's just over in the corner. He's got his head on the top turnbuckle. That's doing the rounds at the moment. And I don't know how long his contract is. I don't know like when that expires. But if it's any time soon, then I have to think there's a chance he's going. I have to think there's a chance he's going because he ain't going to get past Roman on SmackDown. Are they going to book him to be the guy on Raw? I definitely think they could. I definitely think they could. You could make every argument for Kevin Owens to be the guy. He is a professional wrestler. He is like CM Punk. He is someone that you need to go back and watch like his NXT matches to just really remember how incredible this guy is. I rewatched his match against Finn Bálor, and it's like he's like telling they threw streamers in because it was a title match and it was in Japan, and they threw streamers in like it's tradition in Japan. And he was standing there and he was like, get this all out. I ain't doing anything. I'm getting out of this like stinking country unless you get all these streamers out. And he's standing there and there's like one in the corner. He's like, get it out. Get it out. And he won't do it. He won't move. He won't do anything until they get it all out. And then once the match starts, he's like shouting out at the crowd and engaging with them. And he's just so on it. Like the wrestling is awesome. But his crowd interaction, like he's just constantly like throwing out like lines to the crowd and putting people down, and there was one moment in the Beast in the East where he's got like Finn in a headlock, and he's just for no reason looks up to the crowd and shouts out, "I hate this stupid country and all you stupid people that live here," for no reason whatsoever, and it's really audible, and he's doing that all throughout the show when they're on the outside, just. When he's like really engaged and he's really on it, and he's like he was in full NXT Kevin Owens I don't give a flip mode, he was amazing. Now he doesn't really do that kind of talking anymore. You don't really tend to see him do that. I also think the thing with Kevin Owens is he comes down in like really nice WWE shop shirts that have got like, I don't know, a nice little design here, like they're red and it's got a nice little design. They've kind of moved away from him feeling like the DIY kind of brawler that he is. I love his shirt, his NXT shirt, and I think he had it on the indie scene as well. It was a black shirt and it had like gaffer tape. I don't think it was real gaffer tape, just looked like it was, but it was gaffer tape and it said KO in gaffer tape. That's Kevin Owens. That's Kevin Owens gets a black shirt and gaffer tapes KO, and that'll do. Yeah, because it's not about like how the shirt like really looks. He just wants a shirt that says Kevin Owens or KO, and that'll do. That's him. Very DIY, very kind of indie wrestler. Kill, Steen, kill. And he just feels so polished now. Like, he's got the KO show and he's got really nice shirts, and it just feels like we've taken this amazing raw brawler, we've tried to polish him up, we've tried to sports entertainment him, and it doesn't really work with Kevin Owens. So I think that he is very much a round peg in a square hole. I think that he just doesn't quite fit the WWE system. There's times where it's been beautiful as well. I mean, he's had some great matches, but some of his best matches, of course, have been with Sami, who he knew on the indie scene as El Generico. So they're like they've known each other for like pretty much their lives. So it's no surprise that some of his great matches have been with Sami. But he did great work with Jericho. Festival of Friendship was amazing. Like, he can do like the sports entertainment stuff, but it's got to be really well written. And man, he must be so fed up with some of the absolute nonsense that he's had to do. So I think there's every chance he goes to AEW, yes. I think they would book him a lot better, because I think they know how to book that kind of performer. So I do feel sorry for Kevin Owens. Shinsuke, he just doesn't seem to give a flip, to be honest. He just seems quite happy. I don't know that he's like... I think, to be honest, I think he had a hell of a career in New Japan, and I think now he's just loving getting paid a load of money. That's the vibe I get with Shinsuke. I don't get the vibe that he is frustrated. If he feels like he's made his money and he wants to just see out his final few years having some great classic matches, then he might go to AEW. If he's happy and his life's good and he's got his friends in WWE and he doesn't really care how he's used, he'll just do what he's asked, and he's quite happy picking up a nice big paycheck, he might stay. So Kevin Owens, though, I think looks frustrated. I think he goes. Nakamura, I think he stays. Daniel said Tony might have leaked some of the full gear card at the Jaguars game. His notebook that he was holding said Kenny versus Hangman, Christian versus Cole. They are the two clearest ones. Bryan versus Moxley was another. Interesting. Edward said Nikki Bella wants to come back and be a champion. What do you think about that? Ain't gonna grab people, I don't think. The Bellas are interesting because people will disagree with me on this, but I don't think they quite get the respect they deserve. They absolutely threw themselves into WWE. So not only were they wrestling in the ring as the Bella Twins and obviously doing solo matches as well, like Brie had a match at SummerSlam with Stephanie, and Nikki Bella's had like quite a few women's title runs. So, you know, they've had loads of matches, loads of in-ring work as a tag team in a faction as well. They did with the three of them. It was them and Alicia Fox. You might remember when like Charlotte came up and Becky came up and Sasha came up. They got put into like groups. So you had, Team Bad was Naomi, Tamina, and Sasha. PCB was Paige, Charlotte, and Becky. And then Team Bella was Nikki, Brie, and Alicia Fox. I mean, that was the women's division, or a good chunk of it, like back in like 2015. And I kind of think that, you know, she's done a lot. She's done even more outside of the ring with Total Divas, Total Bellas. You know, obviously her relationship with John Cena was very high profile as well. Like, she is a name. She is known. She is someone that you could bring in, and I'm not going to say she's going to bring in ratings, but she's certainly got fans. So even if there's people here, and a lot of people here, that are like, no, I wouldn't do that, I can see an argument for it. I think there is an audience for it. How you book it is very important, though, because I don't mind them doing it, but the end result has got to be she puts over new talent. Like, if she comes in and wins the title off, say, Becky, right, or someone, Charlotte, yeah, she wins the title and ends up dropping it to a Liv Morgan or a Toni Storm, or puts over someone like that, I'm down for that. Because actually what you're doing then is, say Liv Morgan beats Nikki Bella, yeah? Big moment. What a moment. People would love that. Liv Morgan's champion. Nikki Bella loses the title. She's had her run. Wonderful. She's put over a new talent. Wonderful. Okay? It also means that Liv has not beaten the likes of Charlotte or Sasha or, you know, Nia or whoever it might be, Naomi or whoever it might be. She's still got all of those people as opponents. The person she's beaten is like a Hall of Fame legend that can now go away again. So you've actually put the title on to Liv, but you haven't really used up any opponents. Like, you've still got all of these feuds for her to have. So I can definitely see some arguments for it. I definitely know there would be a lot of people against it. My answer would be, if it's booked well, don't mind. I don't mind. I wouldn't be thrilled, but I wouldn't be against it. Days, what do you think? Hasib said, what do you think the mid-card champs are doing at Saudi? You would have thought at least one of them would be on the show. It's a good point. There might be, actually, because I don't think they've announced any pre-show match. And would they have the Mansoor match as the pre-show match? They might. We are doing this early. They don't tend to announce too much after this point. But honestly, if they give Damian Priest something between now and, you know, next week, or Nakamura something between now and next week, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know what it would be, but they could announce something and then just chuck it on the pre-show. So we'll have to see. It might be one of those kind of last-minute matches that get announced. But I do agree it's a bit strange not having the mid-cards belts on the show. But then equally, they might be trying to save those title matches for Raw and SmackDown, because Raw and SmackDown still need something, don't they? They still need something to bring people in. So if you were in WWE, would you return with a Universal or WWE title shot and win and make WrestleMania main event? I don't understand the question, but if you was in WWE, would you return with a Universal or WWE title shot and win it and make a WrestleMania main event debut? If I was in WWE, I'd be hiding in the cupboard. That's where I would be. I would not be having WrestleMania debuts and title shots. Yeah? I would be doing my best to avoid everyone possible. Sean Reset said, Nikki Bella has been critical of the women's division. I personally don't see them bringing her back. That's interesting. Sean, shout out to you. JP Fawn said, days since The Miz is on Dancing with the Stars as a genie. What wrestler would you like to see on Dancing with the Stars next? Male or female? Well, let's throw that out to the chat. Let's see what the chat thinks about that. I'm sure the chat could come up with some really good suggestions for people to go on Dancing in the Stars, or Dancing with the Stars, or whatever it's called. I can tell you, we have had, by the way, 706 votes, which is absolutely incredible. 708 votes now. I don't know quite how long we're going to keep the stream going for. I didn't really have a plan. I think that shows. So we are around for a little bit, like, I don't know, 10 minutes, maybe 15, something like that. But I can tell you that we've had 47% of people say that Becky is going to retain at Crown Jewel. 35% of people have said that Sasha is going to be victorious at Crown Jewel, and only 18% think Bianca. So 47 for Becky, 35 for Sasha, 18 for Bianca. Austin says The Undertaker, which is amazing. I love that. Someone said do another poll. I suppose we could do another one. I don't know that one will move that much, so we'll do one more. Let me know. Let me know who should be on Dancing with the Stars. Let me know, what other poll you would like to chuck up. We could do the Roman Brock one if you want. Dewdrop said, Edward. Felix, shout out to you. Shola said, I think Sasha has to take it to SmackDown. Primo said, Days, could you see WWE doing an angle? It's gone. Ben said, Days, I just know when The Rock comes back, he will say to Roman, you're the head of the table, right? Well, I built the damn table. I like that. That's good. Hayden said, I want Undertaker appearing on Dancing with the Stars. I have never wanted anything more in my life. So I completely agree. CCSYT said, Days, we want you to challenge Masvidal for the BMF title. Book it. Daniel, shout out to you. Says, the picture of Tony doing the rounds. There's more matches. Punk Wardlow looks like one. Inner Circle against American Top Team. MJF against Darby. And Thunder Rosa versus Jade. Interesting. Disco Vince for Dancing with the Stars. Riddle for Dancing with the Stars. Legend Killer, shout out to you. Deal said, do a poll. Will Heyman turn on Reigns at Crown Jewel? Okay. Done. Will Paul Heyman turn on... hang on. Helps if I get the caps lock right. Will Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns? Yes. No. There we go. Will Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns? That can be our final question, and as we said, we'll be around for about I don't know, 10 minutes or so. I didn't really think about how long we'd be sticking around for. Beth Phoenix, WWE Raw Women's Champion, to start a feud with big time Bex, says Ronnie. That would have been good, and I think the story was easily there, what with the whole Seth breaking into Edge's house thing, so yeah, I kind of think they could have gone that way, but I don't know. I don't know if they will use that. They don't seem to want to acknowledge that Becky and Seth are together really anymore. I think they might mention it, but just on screen, they don't seem to want to do anything. I think Seth said he didn't want to do anything as well, so perhaps Becky smells. Wrestle with Andy said, Wobbly Walrus for Dancing with the Stars. That's a great shout. I mean, all of those Firefly Funhouse puppets are, not really doing much at the moment. In storage, aren't they? I'd imagine they're in the warehouse. Get them out there. Get them doing some stuff on Dancing with the Stars. That could be amazing. I'm just seeing Sister Abigail in the window, just kind of like bopping around. That would be, yeah. I think people would hate on it as well because, like, obviously Bray's not around anymore, so I think people would be down on it, but it'd still be quite the sight. Primo said, could you see WWE doing an angle where Carmella hits Doudrop with her mask whilst the ref is distracted and wins in the final? She could. I don't know that she will, but she could. They are making a bit of a thing out of them. That mask is scary, man. Am I the only one that thinks that the mask is scary? If you watch The Walking Dead, it's like a walker. It's like a whisperer's mask. It's like there are people in The Walking Dead that wear the faces of the zombies, right? It's pretty dark. And it kind of reminds me a lot of that. Like when she's got it on and it's like, oh, I don't know. It creeps me out a little bit. So, I don't know. I don't know if she'll use it as a weapon. It's not a very good weapon. It's not a very heavy mask, is it? I think it looks like it's just a pretty soft mask. So I don't think it's a very good mask at all. I think it's like a surgical mask, to be honest. I don't think it really stops. It's not like Brutus the Barber Beefcake's titanium mask that he had at WrestleMania 9. It's not like Sheamus's mask that, like, is rock solid. Like, hers kind of looks like it moves. I don't think it offers all that much protection, to be honest. Why isn't AEW on? AEW isn't on because it's on Saturday instead, live, apparently. So, I don't know what's on right now. Major League Baseball or something has stolen its spotlight. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Bit weird being on a Wednesday night and not having any AEW. Sean Reset said, I don't like that Carmella mask. It is freaky. Yeah, I think it's freaky. Dylan said, Elektra Lopez should be on Dancing in the Stars. Elektra Lopez should be on every show. Ever. Andy, shout out to you. Said, I think Heyman will eventually turn on Reigns. It's inevitable, but it won't happen at Crown Jewel. It might happen at the Royal Rumble, though. Ben Russell said it's scarier than the Fiend's mask. Yeah, if he wanted to be really scary, he should have worn that Carmella one. Nakamura versus Roman at the bump teased it. What, they teased Nakamura versus Roman? Can they do that? Is Nakamura staying on Smackdown? I can't remember. I can't remember if Nakamura's on Smackdown or Raw. So, well, I suppose they could always do it this Friday, couldn't they? But I doubt they would, because we're building towards Crown Jewel. Maybe a week Friday? I don't know when the draft kicks in. Don't know. Might just be a tease. Harley said, doesn't a Hell in a Cell match feel huge when it has a feud that deserves it and not a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view? Yeah. The only problem is I think that this card is so stacked that I think that Hell in a Cell match for me is just kind of lost in the shuffle. Like, there's a lot of focus on Becky, Bianca, and Sasha. Obviously, the main event is Roman and Brock. You got Big E and Drew. You got the Goldberg. Like, this card is so stacked. It kind of feels like the Hell in a Cell match is just another match on the card. But it is big, and it does have potential to be match of the night. And I do love the fact that we're doing them away from the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So there's lots and lots of positives and lots of things that I really like about it. But it's just weird that it's not the main event or the co-main event. Like, I don't actually know when they're going to do it. I don't know at what point the match is going to be, but it's just on this incredibly stacked card. This card is amazing. I mean, honestly, the only match on there that I would say is even remotely weak is Mansoor versus Ali, and you totally get why it's there. Because of Mansoor. I mean, big match Mansoor in Saudi Arabia. That's the only match that I look at and go, if I missed it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I'm not bothered about missing that one. But I don't want to miss any of the others. I don't want to miss any of them. They all look unmissable. And it's really rare to go into a WWE show where pretty much the whole card is unmissable. So it's so exciting. That show next week, next Thursday. And don't forget, we are going to do the watch-along. We are going to do the watch-along for it. That is going to be absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. So I don't know if you guys are free or not. I don't know if some of you will be at school or at work or how it's going to work, to be honest. But we're live. We're doing the watch-along for it. We'll be live a good hour before it as well. I'm sure we'll be around a little bit afterwards. So if it's on, we're on. Make sure that you come and join us. I want a movie about the bloodline with The Rock being the head of the table. Ivy Nile is the best. Reggie for Dancing with the Stars. Wow, you've got a lot in there, Corn Jenner, and I appreciate that. A movie about the bloodline with The Rock being the head of the table. Sounds fun. A movie about The Rock's family. I mean, I know we had Young Rock, but something a bit more like drama, not comedy. That could be very interesting. And with like Roman and the Usos and like a proper story, that could be kind of cool. So I'm with you on that. Ivy Nile is very impressive. She's on NXT and she's the girl that's got the chains and the guns. She is very impressive. Reggie for Dancing with the Stars is an amazing shout. Hayden said, I want Elektra Lopez on Dancing with the Stars because she's an angel. She is an angel, Hayden, just like you, my friend. Hayden says, I'm a big Elektra Lopez fan. Austin said, Mansoor loses. Legend Killer said, Days, I think Sasha Banks is going to win, and I'm thinking that Roman Reigns is going to win. Heather, shout out to you. Hope you are well. Primo said, I was watching New Day's 11 title wins on YouTube. There's one scene where they look to swap belts. It doesn't look good to look back on. Is that the bit where they swapped them because of the draft? Was it them and Street Profits? I remember Street Profits did it. Was it New Day and Street Profits that swapped titles? Who are the culprits? Who is it that we blame for that? I think you might be right. It might have been those two. I've been saying for a while that The Rock and the Samoan Dynasty is a huge storyline that they should develop further. A lot of excitement for the new Uce that's in NXT, as mentioned earlier. Can't remember his name. Sika Simoa or something like this. So he's just coming. Well, no, he hasn't arrived yet in NXT, but he's on the way. And obviously the mystery person as well. New developments on that. But someone has tweaked the audio and you can pretty much hear who it is now, so I won't spoil that, but it is in the comments of the video that I put out when we spoke about it. So there's new thoughts and theories on that, but I did a comment and I pinned it in that video if you do want to know who that is. But you can hear quite clearly they've changed the pitch of the mystery person in NXT, and there's no doubt as to who it is now. Andy said Crown Jewel might actually be very good this year. John said Days Nakamura is still on SmackDown, and the draft picks will go into effect after Crown Jewel. Yeah, well, then we could, yeah. I mean, Nakamura and Roman, we could definitely see them. Because, as we said, at the top of the card, you've only got Drew. So they're going to have to find him other opponents. If Brock's not going to be around, then he's going to have to feud with someone. So I could see him feuding with Drew, and yeah, Edwards could be right. It could be that they've teased a little thing with Nakamura, and we could be going that way. NLW Live, shout out to you. Elizabeth said, put a poll up of if Finn will win King of the Ring or not. That's a good idea, actually. We can end this one. I don't know how many votes we've got, but we've had a few minutes of that poll, and we can put up the next one. So 200 odd votes. Look at that. Oh, close. Look at that. Over 200 votes. Will Paul Heyman turn on Roman Reigns? Yes, 56%. Close though. Let's do who wins King. I know that I wasn't going to do another poll, but it is really good to get people's thoughts. And even if we just do them as quick polls, still gives us a bit of a read. Xavier, Finn, Jinder. I'll put Sami as well, because why not? There we go. Who wins King of the Ring? What time does Crown Jewel start? It's weird. I think it starts about 5 o'clock UK time, which is going to be about 12 lunchtime elsewhere. Sasha is going to win, and then Roman will spear Sasha and turn face. Daisy, you streaming Crown Jewel? We certainly are. Baby cakes. Imagine someone picks Sami or Jinder. Says Austin. Drew is being used as just another Roman victim, says Shola. Jessica said Brock beats Roman. James Chadwick said, if it's King Sami, then I'm gonna puke. It's gonna puke. Ronnie said the modern day Maharaja. William has picked Jinder. Mark said, I would love to see Sami win, but my money is on Xavier. Sam, a.k.a. Other Mother, says, anyone but Sami, please. Anyone but Sami, please. Well, as soon as you get to around a couple of hundred votes again, we could flip this over to Queen of the Ring. So far, we've figured a lot of stuff out here. You lot think that Becky is going to retain. That was over 700 votes. You also think that Paul Heyman is going to turn on Roman. 56% of you saying that that was going to be the case. And at the moment, we've had 100 votes, and Finn Bálor is leading. Finn Bálor is in the lead. This is very interesting. Baby cakes days. Baby cakes, you just don't know. Finn has a sizable lead over Xavier, yeah. I'm really surprised. I really thought that everyone would be thinking Xavier was going to get this. If Sami wins, you're fired, says Sarah. NLW Live said, imagine Days comes out and wins King of the Ring. Dude, if I was there, it would be no contest. I mean, quite literally, because I wouldn't even go to the ring. Harley said, imagine if Heyman enters the match by signing the Brock Roman contract and wins. Amazing. King Xavier, says Adrian. Not that many people have voted for Sami, says McLean. Well, we're waiting to see where we get with... see, this is what I'm saying. It's very interesting, isn't it? This poll option is very, very interesting. Gives us a real glimpse into what people in the chat are thinking right now. So, I do love it. Austin said, I've got a bad feeling that Jinder does go to the final. James Chadwick said, King Woods. Alexa Bliss Gamer 0809 said, I just can't wait until Alexa Bliss returns. I can believe that. I am not finding that hard to believe at all. Ronnie said, Beth Phoenix, WWE Raw Women's Champion, start a feud with Big Time Bex. Seth shows up to her house, and Seth is her man, so attacks the man and creates a mixed angle. I don't know that Seth is going to attack. Are we saying Seth attacks and Seth is her man, so attacks the man? What, Beth attacks Seth? Beth and Seth? Why aren't Beth and Seth in a relationship? Beth and Seth? And they could have had a little baby called... Meth? No, you don't want to call your baby Meth. Don't call... Guys, fun fact. Yeah, a life hack. A little life. Don't call your baby Meth. It's not a good name. Yeah? It's not a good name at all. I don't know. I think that's... There's lots you could do with it. Let's put it that way. The Edge, Beth, Seth, Becky, baby Meth angle is very exciting. Harley said Seth should attack the kids. Yes. For too long, the kids have been getting away with not being attacked. You're absolutely right. For too long, they've had it easy. For too long, they've been able to walk around, swan around, do whatever they want. It's about time we saw some child violence in WWE. Well, in a way we are, because we are watching Dominic wrestle, and he is Rey Mysterio's child. Korn said, your evil laugh makes you a great heel. Thank you, but that is just my impression of our very beloved Austin 316. Baby Meth would be a great name. Yes, for someone with a problem. WWE Best Champion 1 said, I hate Sami Zayn, and I am not going to vote for him. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Baby Sabeth. Baby Sabeth. Right, we've got 152 votes. As soon as we get to 200, we'll end this one and we'll do Queen of the Ring. And then I think we are sneaking towards the end of the stream, my friends. It is true. We are sneaking that way. Ronnie said, we've already seen child abuse with Goldberg's son. That's true. That's true. I forgot there's a whole match and angle that's built around child abuse. So, yeah. Sean said, Jinder and Sami jinx themselves by picking up the crown. Is that a big no-no then? If you touch the crown before you actually get to the final or compete in the final, you don't win. I've not seen that, if that's the case. I'd love it if that's true. If every single winner of King of the Ring never touched the crown before winning it, that would be like an amazing fact. I'd love that. That'd be really cool. I don't know if that's the case, but let's say it is. CCSYT said, I wish they called my baby Meth. It was always a crack baby. I'm sorry to hear you had a cracked baby. Sasha Banks wins. Becky and Bianca face Charlotte at Survivor Series for the Raw title. Sasha Banks wins Becky and Bianca and then faces Charlotte. Got you. So Sasha versus Charlotte, you're saying. Do you think Finn will be selfless and put over Xavier because he knows how much the tournament means to him and WWE has already let fans down with Liv? I don't think so. I don't know that is what Xavier would want. I think Xavier wants to win King of the Ring to prove that he can achieve those things. I've said before, I think there's a great story that's there. I think the story is that, he looks at Kofi and he looks at Big E and he can see that they are achieving things on their own, and he wants to show that he can do that as well. And I think that you could have him lose this, which would upset people, but then have him doubt himself and maybe go for a mid-card title. Yeah, so maybe he tries to go after the Intercontinental. Have him lose that as well, and really knock him down a few times. Really work the fans up, get the fans desperate to see him win King of the Ring or win the mid-card title or something like this. And finally you pull the trigger. Finally you give him King of the Ring. Maybe even next year's. Because he could lose this, and then he could lose mid-card title opportunity in between, and then win a tag title or something. But that'd be great. Imagine if he wins the tag titles and he still looks a bit glum. Think of that as a long-term story. Over the next 12 months, they could tell an incredible long-term story where he loses and he talks about how he wants to show that he can win on his own. He then gets a mid-card title opportunity and loses that, and he's really down, and you've got the other members of the New Day comforting him. And then him and Kofi win the titles. Kofi's celebrating and all this, and you can see that Xavier's just not... It's not what he wants. He's won the title, but he's still down. And then we get back round to King of the Ring, and he gets another one. And honestly, I even said you could do something whereby you could say, you could have Kofi go in, say, Xavier go in, say, I either win this or I retire. I either am going to become King of the Ring and I'm going to actually fulfill what I need to fulfill. I need to do what I need to do, or I'm going to walk away from the ring. And do that and go that way. Because then, if he wins it, it'd be just a really cool moment. It'd be even bigger. You've built it up, and the fans all really want him to succeed. And the other members of the New Day will be right there. And imagine how flipping dramatic that King of the Ring final would be. He's got to the final, and it's him against whoever, and it's his career versus the King of the Ring title. And just think how dramatic those 2 counts will be, and you could have Kofi and Big E at ringside, do you know what I mean, banging, trying to cheer him on, and I in my head I'm seeing the arena just going mental, popping, losing their minds. I think that would be absolutely awesome. So this is what I'm saying. You don't have to just give it him now. You don't have to just have it now. I actually think you could make a bigger deal out of it. You could do something really juicy. Could actually be a major focus for him over the next 12 months. So I don't think that he would want Finn to lie down or take it easy. Do you know what I mean, on him, or not try his hardest. I think he wants to show that he can win something, and he'll want to beat Finn Bálor at his best. Andy, shout out to you, buds. Right, let's end this poll. Here we go. We've got... I didn't even see the results. I'm going to see him in a second. It's making me wait. Boom! Who wins King of the Ring? 52% think Finn Bálor. 33% think Xavier. If we get down to Xavier and Finn, I mean, that is going to be... It will be exciting. Because which way will it go? Will they pull the trigger on Xavier? Will they give Finn a win back? Or... There's every chance it's going to be Finn and Jinder, though. I mean, I don't think that Xavier beating Jinder is a done deal at all. So, but all I'd say is, if it's not Xavier, I understand the disappointment, but don't be too down, because I really think they will give him something eventually. Hopefully soon. Within the next 12 months, hopefully. I like that. That was good. And a result that I did not expect. I did not expect you lot to pick Finn Bálor, to be honest. Let's do one more. Now, I keep saying it, but you can't do King of the Ring without doing Queen of the Ring, can you? So, who wins Queen of the Ring? Who wins Queen of the Ring? This will be our final poll. And we are looking at really wrapping up now. But we will do this one. We'll get your thoughts on this. Shayna. So, will it be Shayna? Will it be Doudrop? Will it be Carmella? Or will it be Zelina Vega? Who wins Queen of the Ring? I can't even tell if I've written a Q there or if it's OO. Hang on. It's definitely a Q now. There we go. I didn't know if I'd written OOTR instead of QOTR. Boom. Big Time Baxter said, do you think women's titles stay on opposite shows? I don't think so, because that's confusing. Like, the Raw title stays on SmackDown and the SmackDown title stays on Raw. If they were going to do that, they would swap them. They would swap them. They've done it before. So if it is going to be a case that Becky retains and Charlotte's going to keep the title, then we'll get a backstage segment where they just swap the belts. William said it's in Saudi Arabia, so Jinder will represent the Saudinians. So Jinder beats Finn. Oh. Laser Jordan 2600KK, Scott Crawford, said, Days, do you think that WWE, like ICW, then AEW will say that's not fair, then Impact and AEW? Do you think that WWE, like ICW, then AEW will say that's not fair, then Impact and AEW? I don't know what you mean. ICW are working with WWE already. You can watch their shows on the network. I don't know. I think they're still putting out new content. I know Progress are. And I've mentioned it before. I'm going to say it again. If you haven't seen Cara Noir, the Progress champion, check out Cara Noir. Going to be big star. Entrance is epic, and it's free to watch on the on Peacock on WWE Network. Just go to like the latest Progress show and just literally watch the entrance. He is a trained ballet dancer. I know that sounds weird, but you need to know ballet dancers are ripped and super strong, super athletic. And this guy is really tall. He comes out, he's got such grace and poise, and he kind of comes out to like the famous ballet song, whatever it is. Maybe the one they used in Swan Lake or something. But his entrance is so grand, and he's got like these big kind of like wings and that he like swirls around. It's amazing. It's an incredible entrance. His matches are really good as well. Like, yeah, they've got a star there. They've got a relationship with Progress, and I don't think it's long until we see Cara Noir in NXT UK. So I'd imagine it's just really the pandemic that's kind of holding things up. It really can't be long until they make a move on him. But they've got a relationship with ICW as well. So I don't think that they are going to look to do anything more with them than what they are, to be honest. Well, they might do a little something with putting on more shows, bringing in people, maybe putting the odd special on the network, but I don't see there being like WWE and ICW doing like a pay-per-view together or anything, because I just think WWE see ICW as really a feeder promotion for NXT UK, and that's kind of the level that ICW are at. Harley said Seth shouldn't attack kids, not violently. He should play with them and rip their eyeballs out. Okay. We're going to get you help. I know some people that can give you a call. What I want you to do, Harley, is just wait by your phone, and there will be a phone call in about an hour's time, and I just want you to talk it through. That's all. They'll just ask a few questions. They might want to speak to your parents, but they'll just want to talk it through. So, Nelson said Xavier has got to turn heel. Hayden said, I'm looking forward to SmackDown and Rampage this weekend. Hayden, you're not allowed to look forward to both. Don't you know that this is a wrestling war and you have got to pick a side, right? You are not allowed to watch both shows. If you think for 1 second you can watch and enjoy both shows at the same time, then you are very mistaken, my friend. This is a war. This is a war. You have to pick a side. Yeah, none of this, like, you're not Switzerland, right? You're not going to just be impartial and just, I think I'll watch both. No. You pick a side, and you have to tell everyone on Twitter that the other side is rubbish. And you have to say, I'm supporting this side, and the other side's rubbish. And then people will go, I don't think they're rubbish. And then what you have to do is go, yeah, well, you're an idiot. Yeah, and you tweet them that. And then you get into, like, a load of arguments, right? And if we all do that, then that's how we maintain the harmony that we've got at the moment in the wrestling world. That's how we keep this little piece of paradise that we've been able to create as a wrestling community. That's how we maintain it. So that's what you have to do. Justin said, yeah, pick a side. Sonny said, I can't see Hayden's comments. It's because... Oh, he has picked a side! Hayden said, all right, then I'm looking forward to Smackdown. Oh! Are you siding with Smackdown, Hayden? AE-dub! 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 How dare you, Hayden? How dare you turn your back on AE-dub? That is appalling. Oh, I'm angry now, Hayden. I'm going to watch both. I don't know why you don't just watch both. I'm going to watch both. Like, honest, Hayden, I've told you this before. Wrestling is there to be enjoyed. You should watch both shows. You shouldn't be intimidated. Don't let anyone intimidate you, Hayden. You watch what you want to watch. You watch both shows. Days, I've got a feeling that the person with the least votes in the poll will be the winner, because WWE will know who the fans want and do the opposite. I'm sorry, you think WWE are watching this stream? I mean, they might be. They have before. Yeah, I don't think they are, though. I don't think they are. If they are, then Hayden picked well. Let's put it that way. If they are, then Hayden chose very wisely. Harley said, AE-dub, AE-dub. Man, been since 2018, and it's good to be back. Slates, shout out to you, dude. Hayden says, oh, okay, I'm going to watch both shows. Are you not listening to me, Hayden? I'm sorry, I know you're in New Zealand, and I know that's a long way from the UK, but I literally just said that you can't do that, and that you have to pick a show, and this is a wrestling war. Like, oh, God, sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a wall. Honestly, just making up your own rules as you're going along, Hayden. It's absolutely disgraceful. Yeah, look, Coltland said, Hayden, you can't watch both. This is a war. You've got to pick a side. It's unbelievable. I don't know why you're struggling to get your head around this. This is a war. Have you not seen those Tony Khan tweets? Yeah? It's unbelievable. I like you though, Hayden. You're one of the good guys, yeah? You're one of the good guys. That's why I'm going easy on you, Hayden. Because you're one of the good guys. I am going to watch both, says Edward. Edward, my God. I don't know. You lot must be watching a different stream to what I'm putting out. I thought I was very, very clear here. Got to pick a side. Right, we've had 191 votes. We are 9 votes away. I'm sure, just like me, you are desperate for this stream to end. You probably sat there thinking, I don't know how much more of this I can take. Certainly Hayden's thinking that. So as soon as you get to 200 votes, then we will read out the answers, and we can then all move on with our lives. Boomers says this is a Friday night war. Blaze Radio says make love, not war. That's right. Please be inspired by Joe Gacy and Haaland. They make love. They don't make war. Just, if there's someone in your life that you love, just for me, go up to them and just stroke them on the face and then run away. Please do that. Because I'm going to do that later with my dog. I'm going to go upstairs, I'm going to stroke her on the face, and then I'm going to run away. And that's very much where we should be as a wrestling community right now. Damn war, damn it. Right, are we at the 200 mark? Yes, of course we are. And it's so one-sided. I've ended the poll. So here we go. Who wins? Queen of the Ring. So Shayna gets 52% of the vote. Doudrop with 22%. Carmella with 13%. Zelina with 10%. So Shayna is far and away people's choice to win. Then it's Doudrop. Then it's Carmella. And then it is Zelina. And on that bombshell, we are done. This is the end, my friends. This is the end. So, really, really appreciate people joining us. Obviously, normally we would be watching AEW, but rather than that, we've done a couple of hours of this Crown Jewel predictions. Massive show next week. Of course, we are back for Friday and Smackdown and Rampage. We'll do UFC at the weekend. We've got Premier League football, soccer, as you may, over on football days, and Raw, Dynamite, blah blah blah, all of that coming up. But next Thursday or a week tomorrow, Crown Jewel, and we will be doing the watch along for that. So yeah, if you are around, make sure you stop by and join us. It should be a big show. This is one that's, I think, really captured people's imagination. This looks like the strongest Saudi show I think I've ever seen. I was pretty excited for the Greatest Royal Rumble, to be honest. But I think if memory serves me, they announced a lot of the 50 people that were in that Greatest Royal Rumble before we even got there, and we kind of saw it was pretty much the roster. But I was still quite excited because we knew there'd be surprises. They were weird surprises. I think like Commander Aziz was one of the surprises as Babatunde. And didn't they have like a sumo wrestler? Because they wanted Yokozuna and he's dead. So they went and got an active sumo wrestler that came down. So some dude, that's one of the weirdest Royal Rumble entries ever. Some random sumo wrestler. And we all went, who the hell's that? But it was because that they wanted someone big because the Saudi royal family had asked for Yokozuna. So they tried to give them someone that was big. So, yeah, I mean, it was still pretty eventful. But I don't think it was as tasty as what this card looks like. This card looks something very special. So, awesome, guys. Appreciate the support. Have a great evening wherever you are. I hope you have a lot of fun doing whatever you're doing. And I will see you again next time. I don't know what we've got around tomorrow, but definitely on Thursday, we are back with Smackdown and Rampage. Awesome, guys. Bye for now.